It is almost time for playoff baseball, folks. 6 games remain. It was a sluggish weekend for the Cubs. Are we getting a little bit nervous about Kyle Tucker? My nerves are going up just a touch. We're going to release our wild card predictions here, Joey and I here. Coming up on the CHGO Cubs Podcast. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Podcast presented by Bet365 and Toyota. Let's go places. Good to be back. I'm Kevin Wells here with Joey Christopoulos. It's been a while for me, so I'm happy to be back here at the set with you, Joey. It was a rough weekend for our boys. Rough weekend on the injury front. But the good news is I haven't been here since they clinched the playoff spot, so I'm going to do a little celebrating today. I'm very happy about that the Cubs are back in the postseason, so that's great news. But there's a lot of news, a lot of call-ups, a lot of things on the horizon for this team, a lot of decisions, crucial roster decisions to make here in the next couple of weeks. Who's going to be healthy? Who's going to have the track record? Who is Craig Counsell going to trust in that pen with some decisions here? And, you know, they're in a position of strength. There's a lot of positions a lot of pitchers that, you know, will have an argument to make the postseason roster. And I really can't wait to get to that and pick your brain because I think we have some differing opinions on how we want to go about that. But what's up, man? What's new?
Dude, Kevin, great to see you, man. Luke Stuckmeyer is out of town. He'll be back in the next day or so. And you know what they say, Luke? When the Stucky cat is away, the mice will completely freak out about Kyle Tucker. Because previously on CHGO Cubs last week, I think my concern level was pretty low when it came to Kyle Tucker traveling to Tampa to check out that calf. For me personally, it was a little bit more of, can we just sort of get him into a place where he can get back onto the field and maybe get 10 to 15 at-bats. But Kevin, as it stands here right now, word on the street is from several reports today is that Kyle Tucker is hitting in a cage. The running has been ramped down. He's not running as often or maybe trying to exercise and try and get back on the field from a running perspective as much as he was maybe a week ago when they were contemplating whether to put him on the IL or not. Mm-hmm. So my concern is going up a little bit, Kevin, because, look, you could bring Kyle Tucker back, and in my opinion, I don't think he needs a ton of run in the regular season to play in a postseason game. But what I've maintained is that when Kyle Tucker comes back, what concerns me is him running from first to third and him running from second to home base. For a team that has been so good at base running all season long, Kyle Tucker either re-injury or hampering that mentality in the postseason, especially if he's going to hit in the middle of the order. My concern went up a little bit, and obviously this news coming out that he hasn't been running, but he's still hitting in the cage. I'm starting to get, what's the word, mildly concerned. If they were hot sauces right now, what would they be? Like mild, medium, fire hot, devil, what is it? Devil hot?
You've leveled up in your concern.
100%.
And I think that's fair. I don't think that there wouldn't be a Cubs fan telling the truth if their concern didn't go up a little bit with this report today. So Patrick Mooney and Sahadev Sharma with The Athletic were the first people on this today. And reading through it, it's a lot of the same. There's not a lot of new information. And I think that that's the reason with there being 6 games remaining here in the regular season. You're in the postseason, so that's a huge plus. Kyle Tucker, hopefully rested. That's a positive in spin zone if we're going to do a positive look at things. The negative is I have no idea what this injury is. There can be a lot of things that can go wrong with a calf muscle. It's not something that is – it's not as concerning as I'd say like an oblique or an arm to me, but the fact that I don't know anything about it the unknown sparks the anxiety, right? And I think Craig Counsell kind of said that to the reporters. Well, fans don't know really, and we don't know really, so that's kind of what's sparking the anxiety here. But the good thing is, you know, he's hitting, he's doing some sort of baseball activity here. And if I'm looking at it through a completely different lens here, this is not a tinfoil hat theory. I think this could have something to do with it. If you're a team that wants to be in Kyle Tucker's good graces, and you trust the September that he had last year with the Astros after being out for most of the year with a broken shin. He came on and he was great in the postseason. If you're trusting him and you want to be on his good side and you want him to make the money that he's going to make and you want to re-sign him, you're going to play by his rules a little bit here. And that's kind of what this sparks me as. I think they're letting him be the veteran, they're trusting in him to go to a medical team where he's had results. So that's why I'm not jumping off the ledge yet. Why I'm not banging down Jed's door asking for them to tell us what's going on specifically with the injury, because I think they don't want it to hurt his pocketbook, and I think they're maybe just going to say, "Hey, maybe it's not that big of a deal after all." Who knows? That's how I'm going to choose to look at it.
They're 100% going to protect the player, and even with counsel's comments too as well, reiterating and hearkening back to something that Kyle Tucker dealt with last year when he broke his shin about how he didn't want any rehab starts to come back up and hit, and how also even in those articles reference that his workload is typically very light. He isn't a guy who kind of drills in on the minutia of his swing. He kind of goes by a little bit more feel. So they've done all the things that they needed to position Kyle Tucker playing in the playoffs. I guess the confusing part and why I think it's fair for me and you to maybe go up a notch on the concern level is just go back to the nature of the injury. He says that he was feeling it for a couple days, played a couple of games, removed himself from the game in a fifth inning, and then they sat him for a couple days, tried to have him do some workouts in the outfield, eventually IL'd him, and now he's flying to Tampa, and now he's hitting in the cage, and he's not doing any running
exercise.
He's
still not running. That's the thing. It's the running.
That's the part that's confusing, because also when you talk about Craig Counsell saying that his injury plateaued, I would assume that means that it stopped at a certain point of progression. This feels a bit like a regression. And again, maybe I'm just getting paranoid and maybe I'm getting scared because we are 6 games away and approximately 7-something whatever days from playing a wild card game at Wrigley Field. And I will tell you that I believe sitting here right now that I think Kyle Tucker is going to be in the lineup next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow, whoever the Chicago Cubs play, and hopefully it seems like it's going to be in Chicago, but wherever that's going to be played, I feel like he's going to be in the lineup.
So you think he'll be there? Okay.
I do think that he'll be
you're
there.
Concerned about the production then maybe, right? Is that kind of what you're saying? You're more concerned about how he's going to play if he's not?
Yeah, and I want to fire this one at you, is that Kyle Tucker all season long is hit predominantly in the 2 spot and the 3 spot. Kevin, I'm going to ask you, are you magically putting him right back into those 2 spots in the lineup?
I know Craig will, so my answer is yes.
well,
I know Craig will, yes.
Speak for yourself, though, because personally, look, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
You'd put him a little lower?
I would hit him 4th. I'd even hit him 5th in the lineup. Because let's be honest, I also think that he's going to come back as a DH. And personally, just what I've seen over the last week, when this lineup is working, it has gone back to the things that made this lineup successful in the first place, and that's hitting home runs and stealing bases. And I like Michael Busch and Nico Hoerner at the top right now. And I actually kind of don't mind Ian Happ either in that 3 spot. So Kyle Tucker, it isn't about hiding him, Cubs fans. It's about putting him just in a place where he can succeed and try and just hit some balls over the fence and hit for power, or maybe get on base and get a walk. Like I would try and configure the lineup somehow that would maybe necessarily not have him hitting right in front of PCA. Because this is my thing, is Kyle Tucker walks, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but Kyle Tucker walks, PCA hits a base hit to right field. Is Kyle Tucker going to be able to make that turn and go from first to third? If it is in the gap, is he going to be able to score from home? Is he going to be holding PCA up at second base? These are the types of little things.
You're thinking like 3D chess, but that's how you need to think.
It's playoffs, baby.
Yeah. Everything matters.
And that's what's gotten this team this far, is that one little extra base here, taking advantage of a scenario with something that is a strength of this team, that's base running. And I'll be honest with you, if he doesn't get back by the end of this weekend, it doesn't look like he's going to, I would contemplate moving him down in the lineup. Just the fact that he's in there is good enough. I don't know if he needs to be there in the 2-3 spot, but having said all that, Kevin, you might be right. Craig might not move him at all.
I don't see Craig moving him out of those spots. Who knows? I mean, maybe it happens. I'm with you. I do believe Tucker will be in the lineup. I do believe he will be DHing for the DS, the wild card. And I think, should they get past the DS or should they get past the wild card, I think he's probably still your DH, especially if he's not running it. It's just going to take a little bit to get up to speed. But this weekend set that we're going to get to, and we're going to recap just briefly because it doesn't matter. It's, the Reds are kind of pushing here, but they're far out of our rearview mirror at this point. The reason the Tucker news hit me a little bit harder today is you're still not getting the home run production from the guys whom you expect, except for Michael Busch. You expect Michael Busch to hit you 30 homers. It's great. He's having a great year, but on paper this year, I expected Michael Busch to hit 30 homers. I expected Ian Happ and Dansby Swanson to get me 25. They're going to be pretty close to that. Dansby's at 23, Happ's at 20.
Yeah, they're right. You're right. They're right in that career range.
I expect to get me 35 home runs this year. He's at 27. He hasn't homered since August 6th. Yeah. That's why the Kyle Tucker news today and him still not running concerns me, because if he's not running, you still need your legs to hit the ball too. And I don't know how these workouts are going in the cage, but if you don't hit home runs in the playoffs, teams like the Milwaukee Brewers will single you to death.
Yep.
You need to put the ball over the fence. That's what this team was built on, hitting home runs. And if you're not getting that from Pete, which it's slowed down significantly, maybe it picks back up. Baseball's weird, it can happen. But for me, it's the Seiya thing. If Seiya's not hitting home runs for you, you need Tucker to pick up that slack. And right now, without either one of them homering, you're not going to make it very far. That's where my concern is. Tucker's got to be. He's got to get back. He's got to get back.
And look, that's what's difficult about it right now. And hey, what's up to Craig and Becky and Bobby Blanco in the chat, by the way. Good to see all the regulars here on an off day. Appreciate you guys coming in. And that's what's so difficult about it right now is that, look, I'm going to give you a tiny little sprinkle on, I've started to do some deep dive stuff on the San Diego Padres, and we're, if that is the opponent in the wild card round,
sure seems like
we're going to do a little bit more of a primer to kind of get you ready of what kind of team the Chicago Cubs are going to be facing in that also short 3-game series. But to your point specifically, I am going to drop that the San Diego Padres were bottom of baseball and hitting home runs this year. Now, in the second half of the season, they're more middle of the pack. I believe they're 18th in baseball in home runs. But outside of Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis, they don't really have that ace up their sleeve. And if you can say anything about the Chicago Cubs, is that when they're going right, as you said, they're hitting home runs. And that is a clear set advantage for the Chicago Cubs in that wild card round, especially when you start kind of diving into some of the bullpen arms that the San Diego Padres have to offer in the second half of games. So when you're looking at it right now, it is an all hands on deck mentality. I promise you, Kyle Tucker is doing everything he can to get back in the lineup. And if I had to put money down on it today, I do think Kyle Tucker will be in the lineup for the wild card round. Whether we see him this weekend, though, I'm getting a little more dubious about personally.
Feels like we won't.
Right, but for me, it's
feels like we won't.
And look, man, for me, I'm starting to come around to it takes a village mentality, because, man, you've done tons of shows with us this summer, tons of great shows, and when we talk about, we've had our runs with Seiya Suzuki, and we still have in our run with Seiya Suzuki of where is the production. We've had our run with PCA. He doesn't look like the MVP player of the first half. We're having constant runs. It's like a trilogy right now of Kyle Tucker, of what's going on with Kyle Tucker. Right. But it's been those guys that you've mentioned, Michael Busch, Nico Hoerner, Ian Happ, Dansby Swanson, Carson Kelly. The foundations of this lineup that aren't very flashy have really picked it up and kind of solidified a little bit. And I'll be honest, those are the kind of the guys that I'm looking at that might have to carry us for another week or two as we cross our fingers on Seiya and certainly say our prayers on Kyle Tucker.
And I think that for the most part, you can get away with that in the wild card round. I mean, granted, the Cubs have not had very good luck in the wild card round over the last decade. But you can get through with just consistent at-bats.
At home, at Wrigley.
And at home, yes. You start to go up against the Freddie Peraltas of the world in the next round, you can't get through without hitting home runs.
Yeah.
You can't. Freddie Peralta has been a top 3 pitcher in baseball this year. And this is just an all-encompassing 50-foot view that I want people to realize too. Every team right now has their struggles. Look at the Mets. The Mets, as good and as high as their payroll is, they're getting some production, but not enough to win games, and they find themselves on the outside looking in today. The Detroit Tigers
Tigers was the next one I was going to go to.
A 1-game lead. The Cubs are in a good spot. So I think right now with this weekend was tough. Couple 1-0 losses, come from behind win for the Reds when you got some decent pitching, but the home run balls were an issue. I'm just not reading too much into it. I'm not reading too much into a series with the Reds, especially that first game. The thing that needs to occur for me to feel good is I just need Craig Counsell to come in front of the media and say, listen, he's done for the regular season. But with the way things are progressing, we have a plan in place to get him in there for wildcard game 1. Is he going to come out and say that? I sure hope so.
Yeah, we shall see. We got to take a break here on CHGO Cubs Podcast. Coming up in a second, we're going to answer Robbie Herrera's question, who do you expect them to start in game 1 very quickly, while also pivoting slightly backwards at the Reds sweep, but definitely looking forward to this New York Mets series, a 3-game series that honestly kind of starting to mean something a little bit, definitely for the New York Mets and maybe a tiny little bit for the Chicago Cubs. I will explain why on the other side of this break right here on the CHGO Cubs Podcast.
CHGO Cubs sponsored by Bet365. Football season's here. Early payout offer on the NFL and college football. With that Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner. If your team goes up by 17 points, an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. Thursday night football coming up. Safety net bet. Sunday night football. $365,000 jackpot. All you got to do, $10 bet on the first touchdown score. Get a split of $365K in bonus bets if your player scores the final touchdown of that game. Payable regardless of if their touchdown score bet wins or loses. The Sunday night jackpot. Double your winnings on parlays with Bet365's 100% parlay boost. Just download the app. Use the code CHGO365 when you sign up. Breaking news from Bet365. Playoff season is here. New customers, $200 in bonus bets when you win $5, win or lose. Sign up. Use the code CHGO365. Deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your team wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 and up. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only.
All right, crowd, let's get real for a second. Kevin, the world has gone soft. Everyone gets a trophy now just for showing up. Everyone needs to be bubble wrapped. Soda used to have some actual kick. And I'm not getting on my high horse. I'm getting on my flavor horse right now to talk about RC Cola. It's the OG Cola in a world of spineless soft drinks. There's no trends, no gimmicks, no glow up. RC hasn't changed its stripes since what is it? 05? Unbelievable, because it didn't need to. It's that same Cape Crisp flavor, and RC Cola tastes like a punch in the thirst. So do yourself a favor. Grab yourself some RC Cola from your local store. RC, it's the move for whatever you are doing.
Back here on the CHGO Cubs podcast, we are talking Cubs-Mets coming up here tomorrow. 3-game set, Mets fighting for their playoff lives. Cubs going to get a couple of boosts off the injured list, it sounds like. Sounds like Daniel Palencia will be back, which is very good news. I know that Daniel Palencia was kind of flirting with disaster before he went on the injured list. But, folks, let me tell you, it doesn't matter if he was struggling a month ago. Having a guy who can throw 100 miles an hour in the back of your bullpen allows other pieces to fall into place, allows Counsell to utilize the bullpen a lot easier. He's a way bigger piece than maybe some may think. That's a big boost. And it sounds like he's coming back. There'll be a corresponding move. I'm not sure whom that will be. And then we're also hearing about Miguel Amaya, too. Miguel Amaya has been playing in Iowa, and maybe he comes up soon. I don't know if he'll come up tomorrow, but
it's been, look, they got the taxi squad out now. Rosters have been expanded. It's the last week of the season. It's kind of tough to say who's up and who's down because literally a guy could be in uniform one day.
Yeah, we just saw Porter Hodge go back down.
Yeah, and then the next day someone else goes down. So I'm not going to overly quibble about that. But, man, I will tell you, you are right about Daniel Palencia.
Oh, it's huge. It's huge.
Well, I mean, a guy who, God, the journey that this dude has been on. Starting off the year, Ryan Presley is your closer. Doesn't really work out. Then you bring up Daniel Palencia. Guy throws some gas, gets a little confidence. Suddenly, next thing you know, he is your 9th inning lockdown guy. A guy that you almost feel like you absolutely need to have an integral part of your team. Leaves the mound with his shoulder just dangling off of his body. And personally, just off of eye test, I started thinking to myself, well, time to move on. You know what I mean? It was great while we had him, but we're going to have to learn to go the rest of the way without him. And then slowly but surely, we start getting these reports of him playing catch, bullpen session. And then over the weekend, as you mentioned, and Tommy Birch on X did a great job of detailing every single little second that I was following, every single little moment of Daniel Palencia's outing. And I don't care about the results, and I don't think you should either, Cubs fans. The result that you should care about, Kevin, is the fact that, yeah, you're right. He was throwing 99, 99.5.
102.
It looked like the velocity was back. And all of a sudden now, your closer is back in the mix after a couple weeks going down when Kevin, I thought Andrew Kittredge and Brad Keller did a pretty darn good job in the 9th inning.
Yeah,
so
did.
Now they just all of a sudden turn into these great backup plans, these great safety valves, the guys that you can pitch in tie games of a ninth inning of a playoff game because Daniel Palencia is back in the mix. I mean, for you, what's your comfort level on this, right? Do you want to see Palencia at least back in one game, 2 games in the regular season? Do you want to see him close a game in the ninth before you're comfortable? Or are you cool with just, say, giving him the ninth inning of game 1 next Tuesday and saying rock and roll? Where are you on that?
The old school baseball fan in me wants to say that, closing the game in the ninth inning means a little bit more. It's a higher pressure. I'm sure mentally it definitely is, as, pitching in those moments in which the last 3 outs of the game usually the hardest to get, but 3 outs are 3 outs at the end of the day. And it's high leverage versus low leverage. I don't really care if he's closing the game. I'd like to see him in a couple high leverage roles here.
Right.
I don't think it necessarily needs to be a closer role. I think that's where counsel probably slot him back in as, because why would you not? I mean, I think that seems to make the most sense. Just, if he comes back up tomorrow, if that's where we are, which it sounds like he'll be activated at some point this week, maybe tomorrow, slot him right back into the closer role. Well, right, by closer role, I mean, I hate using the term closer because
you're an opener. You're a guy. You're an open door. You're a very positive.
Everyone coming and talking.
Open. Yeah.
Because it's high leverage versus low leverage. Yes, you can consider the ninth inning high leverage because it's the final 3 outs of the game and there's a mental thing to that. But as long as he gets in there in a couple, throws a couple innings this week, that's all that really matters to me. I don't really need him to be in any specific situation. I'm feeling really good about. He's got the best pitch on the team. His four-seam fastball is the best pitch on the team. Yes. That's not a joke.
It's one of the most talented pitches we've had in the organization in quite some time.
I think that pitch alone, if the velocity's there and he throws it a few times and looks, he's getting some whiffs, that's all I really care about.
Well, the only thing, I'm with you on that. The only thing that I would like to see is Palencia once, maybe twice. If it isn't twice, I'm totally okay with that before the regular season is over, just because of what you're mentioning of when we're talking about those high leverage moments. I think, are we both in agreement that when it matters, or it's a 3-4-5 lineup and we're up 3-2, and whether it's the 7th or 8th inning, you're going to Brad Keller, right?
In the middle innings?
Yeah.
Brad
when
Keller.
It's that high leverage, when you're facing the heart of the order.
Or Thielbar, depending on the matchup, and it'll probably be a lot of Thielbar if they play the Padres.
Right, so the only thing that I would prefer is that if Daniel Palencia can come back and at least check the box that everything seems to be fine and he is healthy, I think it allows Craig Counsell to also then think and get a little versatile with how he wants to go with Andrew Kittredge in the game. Mm-hmm. If he's at all worried in a 3-2 game in the 7th inning and you got Machado, Tatis, and whatever coming up, I think Craig Counsell wants to go to Brad Keller in that moment. But if he doesn't have confidence in Palencia, does he change the way? Does he hold back Kittredge? How does he utilize Kittredge? If he goes, Palencia is my 9th inning guy, then all of a sudden Kittredge can come in the 8th. He can maybe even use him in the 6th if you want to, because these are important outs. It's all you're trying to get to is out number 27. Mm-hmm. So I'm just kind of curious to see if he can come back, get through one of these outings. Everything checks out. Velocity looks good. He's healthy. I think you can then go back to business as usual from the Cubs bullpen perspective.
See a couple comments in there. Robbie Herrera as well. Boyd, Shota, Horton, who starts game 1. Horton's going to start game 1, I think.
Who would you have for San Diego if it was game 1?
Pivetta.
I think Nick Pivetta
will start game 1 for them, and then I think Dylan Cease gets game 2. And we'll talk more about matchups and things like that. And that's the thing. I'm guessing Horton because I think you put the guy who has been nearly unhittable. I think it's that seems to make the most sense to me. But Counsell's a big numbers guy too. So I think you look at the Padres lineup, and if he thinks Shota's got a better opportunity because they don't hit lefties nearly as well, I mean, that's fine. As long as Horton gets one of those first 2 starts, that's all that really, again, it's all that really matters.
Well, let's be honest, maybe he's tipping his hand too as well, because as it stands right now, as of this recording, Horton is going tomorrow against the Mets. Wednesday right now is Matthew Boyd, and Thursday right now is Shota Imanaga. If you do the math on that, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I mean, that is maybe a normal turn for Shota, but that's extra rest for Cade Horton.
Yeah, when would game 1 of the wild card
it'd be Tuesday.
Next Tuesday?
Yeah, so there's going to be, the end of the regular season is this Sunday against the Cardinals. We'll have a post game right here on CHGO Cubs. Tell a friend Tell a neighbor, tell a stranger. I almost got it right, Luke. Monday, we're going to have an off-day playoff primer preview episode, and then Tuesday, time to be determined, just based on the matchups and how baseball wants to roll it out from a ratings perspective. Get ready, Cubs fans. There might be day baseball on Tuesday. There might be a day playoff game for the wild card that Tuesday, and I'm with you. I do think it's going to be Nick Pivetta, and at this point, I do think it's going to be Cade Horton in Game 1.
Yeah, it seems to make the most sense at the moment. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about that in the third segment when we go through lineups. The Cubs seem to be in a good spot here, other than the Tucker news. I would argue, I know that this weekend wasn't great. I know they weren't scoring a lot of runs, but I think a lot of that was just celebration hangover. And you know what? I'm not going to tell you how to fan. If you're frustrated with that, I understand. It was a moderate.
You should be. They scored like 1.2 runs all weekend.
It was a moderate on-field celebration, and then the locker room, they were having some fun with it. But I don't know. Other than the Hunter Green start, I'm not overly concerned about the Reds. And if the Reds do get that third wild card spot, I think that's also good news for the Cubs. I'd rather face or have the opportunity to face the Reds, in the NLCS than I would the Mets. So I trust that the Cubs, they see them more. There's more data that they have to look at them. So I'm not concerned about losing 4 for the first time this season. Yes, they got swept by the Reds. Yes, it's not a good look, but this team has shown itself to be able to turn it on. Not all the time, but I have a lot of belief that they will be able to turn it on here coming up. And especially if these games start to mean something here, because they do mean something for the Mets.
100%. And this is why, Kevin, I feel like even though getting swept stinks and not the result that we wanted, especially after clinching a playoff berth, I just keep getting fascinated by, and I'm not saying the Chicago Cubs cash in on this, but I keep feeling like the Cubs keep getting these really interesting opportunities to set themselves up for long-term success in October. The first one was, anybody that knows this, like when you get down to a magic number 1 or whatever that is, you want to take care of business as quick as you can. And the Chicago Cubs did that very next night. That was a great sign. The second one was after clinching a playoff spot after a long season, if you're going to have a dog of a series, and if you're going to get shut out by Hunter Green the day after when you're still smelling like Bud Light and cigars, that's probably the night to do it. Now, I'm not excusing the type of play that they exhibited over the weekend, but now starting tomorrow, I think the Chicago Cubs have another great opportunity here to kind of recalibrate and get ready for this playoff season. Because as you just mentioned, the New York Mets are desperate, dude. They are clinging to this third wild card spot that the Reds have caught them on.
They don't have the tiebreaker against the Reds.
They don't have the tiebreaker. The Diamondbacks are still in this mix too as well. They can easily get knocked out of this thing. So the New York Mets are completely desperate right now, and the Chicago Cubs aren't. But they have Cade Horton going in this series, Matthew Boyd going in this series, and Shota Imanaga going in this series. 3 pitchers that I think we would all agree are probably the prime candidates to start a playoff game. So this is going to be a playoff-type atmosphere in New York for the Chicago Cubs. And I'm just kind of treating this as a really interesting, almost like preseason playoff exhibition primer.
It's a great point.
To kind of get that blood up a little bit. They're going to sit in those stakes in those games. And we're going to find out. And look, if they lose 2 out of 3 or God, I don't even want to think about them getting swept or whatever it is. If they play poorly in this series, they are going to know immediately what they need to change to get ready for next week. And if they don't, they'll get bounced right away. But in terms of like ratcheting up the emotions and getting ready for something, I find this to be a really interesting 3-game stretch for the Cubs because, man, that crowd's going to be rocking. And they're going to have to go through Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor and a lot of interesting hitters. And the matchups are going to be interesting. It's going to be a playoff-type atmosphere without playoff implications for the Cubs. So, again, I just think another opportunity that if they can go through that, I think it gives them one of those weird intangibles to help them get ready for the playoffs. Sarah.
I want to give a quick shout out before we hit our second ad break to Darth Maul, who is a CHGO YouTube member and has access to all of our exclusive emojis and content. And if you guys want to be a part of that, you can go hit the link in the comment section in both CHGO Sports and the CHGO
Yeah.
Cubs YouTube channel.
What's up, Darth
Just want to throw a quick shout out.
Great call. And also congratulations and shout out to everyone that tunes in every single week. We also crossed 4,000 subscribers on the CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Now is the perfect time to subscribe and hit the notification for that with all the great shows that we have coming up, especially when Stuckey gets back into town. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a stranger. Just tell one person. Imagine if one of your friends could just come and hang out with you in the chat and hang out with us in the chat. We would appreciate it, and you would have a better time. So give it a go, man. Let it loose. Tell a friend, Becky. Come on. I want to see one of Becky's friends in here.
So at Toyota's national sales event, we've got a long lineup of vehicles for summer fun and fall fun. Hey, Cubs fans, Toyota has got 25 vehicles available right now, all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. The RAV4, legendary versatility. The Grand Highlander's adult-sized third row is for real, and the Tacoma's wild side comes standard. From job sites to campsites and game nights, there's all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive Toyota. Get yours while they're in style. Find yours at toyota.com or visit your Chicagoland Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. Cubs are in the playoffs. Bears season's here. Won a huge game. Never a better time than to become a CHGO diehard. Do
Right
it
now.
today. Read Adam Johns. He's talking Bears. Read our guys talking Cubs. The postseason. We haven't had a postseason series in
Patrick
forever.
Norton's newsletter, post-game, shows, all the good stuff coming.
I love that newsletter. Get access to our exclusive written content for a free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merch events, plus access to the Discord lounge where we all hang out and talk Chicago sports and so much more. AllCHGO.com for the latest info on how you can become a diehard and join the thousands of others in our community. We cannot wait to connect with you on an even greater level.
And hey, coaches, listen up. If you're looking for more athletes to train, Eye on the Ball is where you need to be. It's simple. You create a profile, you get a background check, and boom, you are in. That's just $50 a month or $500 for the whole year. Athletes of all ages and all sports can find you directly. And here's the best part. Eye on the Ball doesn't mess with your schedule, your payments, or your business. You are in full control. You just connect with the athletes who are already looking for a coach like you. So if you are ready to grow your coaching business and reach more athletes, go check it out right now. It is eyeontheball.net. Remember, eyeontheball.net. Don't wait. The athletes are already there looking and waiting for you. And it's great for athletes to connect with coaches, great for coaches to connect with athletes, getting better at the sports that you love. Eyeontheball.net. Check it out today. Back here on the CHGO Cubs podcast, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Please.
CHGO Cubs YouTube channel, just past 4,000 subscribers. Couple quick news and notes here before we get back to the Cubs chat. It's been Big Brothers Big Sisters month all here at CHGO. We're so proud to partner with them. And just remember that all episodes, we have a fundraiser option that's turned on. If you want to, this is one of our great opportunities. You can either donate $1, $2, whatever it is. There should be some easy links to make sure you do that. Our BBS fundraiser, you go down there, you just push to donate. It's a great opportunity for a great organization of people trying to help young, impressionable athletes, students, whatever it is, commune, get together, build relationships, and build confidence in their lives. We also have a huge merch sale, which is live right now, 20% off everything in the store, and also an incredible 85% off on some certain already marked down items. Kevin, I own 3 of those 4 on that list. So make sure you check that out right now. Head on over to allchgo.com. While you're there, you can become a diehard if you want to. Perfect time to do it. But again, take advantage of that sale, 20% off, 85% off certain markdown items. Steal of a deal back here in CHGO Cubs podcast. Kevin,
I was just real quick. I was just watching Hogan Johns this morning. I think they put out a new shirt today too, if I'm not mistaken.
Did they?
So they put out the Ben Johnson quote. So if you want that one, if you really want to stay up to date, that was a cool shirt.
Intriguing.
Better gets best. When your better gets better, that the post game speech you gave in the locker room was pretty awesome. So,
look, we might have a coach in this town. It's super chill. And
Cubs we've already had a coach in this town. I think Craig Counsell, but
Well, I was actually going to say, you know what? You kind of know it when you see it a little bit, and
Yeah.
I felt it with Joe
Different
Madden.
strokes.
I felt it the moment Joe Madden was hired, specifically on the north side of this town, that we had a coach for the long haul. I'm starting to feel that way about Ben Johnson, the Bears. Before we move on, Kevin, I just want to get your take on. I was ranting and raving about this Mets series. The Cubs are coming off a 4-game losing streak right now, starting Tuesday. Horton's going to be on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
How are you kind of making sense of these last 6 days as they get ready for the regular season, especially this series against the Mets coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I think for Cade Horton, for one, you want to keep him I think they'll continue to look at his innings very carefully. But it's one of those where I originally thought they were skipping a start. I'm really glad they're not for a couple reasons. One, keep them on the schedule so the arm stays fresh. There's actually science and a lot of pitchers who have said, limiting innings and doing these things can actually lead to more injuries. And
sure,
like
if you're on a good workout routine, you don't just take a full week off. You have to keep active.
So keep that going. I'm fine with that. And the other reason the Cade Horton start tomorrow is exciting is it's his final start of the regular season. Mm-hmm. He's the front runner to win Rookie of the Year. And if he probably throws 5 innings, gives up less than 3, maybe definitely if he gets a quality start, if he keeps the ball in the ballpark, doesn't get shelled, he's going to win Rookie of the Year, folks.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the other part. I'm more excited for the player and the growth that he's had in this second half than anything else really in general. I love watching good pitching, and the growth of Cade Horton's been fantastic, but I'm not looking to see anything different from him. I think it'll be the same game plan as it's been. And then come wild card game 1 next Tuesday, should he get the start, I think he's going to have the green light to fire away. I don't think there'll be an innings restriction on him. Now, I don't think they're going to let him throw 9 innings unless he's got a no-hitter or something like that.
Right.
But, I'm not looking for them to change anything this week with really any of their starting pitchers. Now, are they going to let these guys go crazy and throw a lot more in? No, I think it'll be a lot of what we've seen over the course of 160, or whatever we're at now, 156. Like, I think it'll be a lot of the same similar results. So, another thing in here, I'm looking at this. Do you have faith in Craig Counsell in the postseason? Yeah, man. That's why we hired this guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. I know the Brewers have had some unfortunate luck, but he's made it to the postseason a lot. He's found ways to win games. He can really manage a pitching staff really well. Yeah. I have full faith in Craig Counsell in this postseason.
Yeah, Jay in the chat here, series at Wrigley Field, not yet. It's looking like it. It's looking like it.
Yeah, I think
but not yet.
They got a 3-game lead on the Padres with 6 to go.
I mean, yeah.
So you got to win.
The math is on our side.
So you got to win 3 games, or the Padres have to lose 3 games. Whatever happens first, fair.
And Dan Wynn double tap here on the comments here. True, but we can't pretend to not be worried about Boyd's last handful of starts, and Shota loving giving up the long ball recently. So Kevin, man, I'm with you.
Let's talk Shota, huh?
Yeah, I'm glad Cade Horton is real quick. I'm just glad Cade Horton's making his start, as you said. You can convince me 2 ways. If you wanted to shorten him up, if you wanted to keep him at 70, 75 pitches. If you wanted to maybe stretch him to 85 just to get him ready to be stretched a week after that, you could probably convince me of anything going on with Cade Horton right now. But, yeah, I think these 2 starts for Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga aren't like crucial, earth-shattering, groundbreaking starts, but they will – there is more information to be gathered just a little bit on both of those pitchers. Namely, Shota Imanaga with his 6.75 ERA in the first inning of games. And Matthew Boyd of how much do you trust him? And Kevin, I'll ask you, how much do you trust? How important are these next 2 starts for Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga on the scale of not that they're going to lose their spot, but how short could the leash possibly get for both of those pitchers if they continue to, as Dan Wynn said, and I agree with him, they've been both pretty shaky lately.
Are you talking in terms of how short their leash is in a playoff game?
Correct.
Shota's is a lot longer than Boyd's.
Okay.
I have faith that both of those guys will be given the benefit of the doubt to, they give up a couple runs. I don't think it's going to be pulled right away.
But gives up a couple runs in the first inning, and then there's traffic on the bases in the third inning. I think Craig Counsell starts thinking about the bullpen in a playoff game scenario.
Let's talk Shota first. Shota is having an awesome year with that split. His splitter's awesome. His off-speed stuff looks great. If he's not locating the 4-seam, he's getting shelled. That's where the home runs are coming into play right now. He's missing at the top of the zone. That's where Shota gets the swing and miss with the 4-seam fastball. His 4-seam fastball is a rising fastball, what we call a rising fastball. So if he's clipping too much of the zone and hitters know that his fastball is going to rise and kind of go towards the left-handed batter's box because it doesn't really have a lot of movement, it's easier to hit. So you need to locate that better. I think he knows that. I think Craig Counsell knows that. And we've seen him do it. We've seen him give up a couple home runs, but then have 9 strikeouts in a game, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So I think that, yes, Boyd was the lone all-star this year. But I think you look at Shota's stuff and you just have more confidence that he will figure out a way to get it together because of his off-speed stuff. Boyd has had some issues with walks, more issues with walks than Shota has. So that's why I think the leash is a little bit tighter. Now, in terms of a playoff setting, both of these guys, yeah, I mean, it's just going to depend on how your offense looks, I think, for one. And then if you have traffic yourselves on the bases early and you have a lead, or because the Padres are going to score some runs. Let's say you're playing the Padres, they're going to score runs. They're going to hit. They're a good hitting team, not as good as last year. But I don't see in any case Craig Counsell pulling the panic switch or hitting the panic button in the first or second inning. Even if either one of them gives up 3-4 runs, I don't see it.
So
he's going to play the long game. He's done it all year, and I don't think he changes his philosophy on that. I think he's
makes managers go crazy.
He's been very consistent though. That I have a hard time believing he will completely pull a 180 and say, "Oh my God, my guy's done after one." I don't think he's going to do that.
Yeah, look, I just think from a Shota perspective, I like him as my game 2 starter based on track record, and I think the constitution of the player. I like that in a playoff scenario. I think Shota will show up and pitch well. But I think in this start, at least against the Mets, look, we all know that Shota gives up home runs, but it's been pretty habitual now for about 10 starts in a row.
It's almost a home run a start.
At least, and it's been multiple the last couple of starts. And I even try to pull it up, too. I try to, make this case, too, that, Shota's given up bombs to teams that naturally hit home runs, and maybe he'll be better off against the Padres. But that ain't the case. The last teams that Shota Imanaga's pitched against, he's faced the Reds twice, Pittsburgh once, Milwaukee, San Francisco, the White Sox, Atlanta twice, and Tampa Bay. All of those teams at least 18th or worse in home runs. Teams that typically don't go yard, and they're touching Shota up pretty good. I think Atlanta maybe is the outlier because they have a lot of talent on the team that's just been really injured this year. So if you're saying, well, Shota Imanaga against a team that doesn't hit home runs, we should be fine. I wouldn't be so sure about that. I just would really prefer, even for the player, to get back on track somehow and try and, as you said, keep the splitter down, locate the fastball up, and obviously keep it away from the middle of the plate, and just try and get a feel-good start out there. Because if you're telling me Shota Imanaga can just give me 5 innings of 2 runs, maybe keep the ball in the ballpark, heading into a playoff start, I think that's great news for the Chicago Cubs. More of what we've seen lately, I think, just kind of continues and perpetuates a little bit of that uncertainty, and maybe how long is that leash going to be for either Shota or Boyd?
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of comments, and I'm on Twitter just like everyone else, and there is a lot of animosity towards the Cubs and how they've performed over the last, month and a half since the break, and rightfully so. It's not been a great stretch here, especially getting swept by the Reds. And I think that there's a lot of, you said it, uncertainty, right? Matthew Boyd not being as consistent as he was, sort of showing some regression per se. He's still been fine, but showing some regression from where he was early on in the year. And so I get the cause for concern there. I'm not there with Shota. I know that the home runs are there, but it's all about one pitch for him. It's just the fastball that's getting shelled. So if he can, and I think he knows that. So if he just hyper focuses on that this week and can show us even a hint of what that fastball can be, and because that's the thing, if it's not like he's had terrible start after terrible start after terrible start. They haven't been like elite Shota status.
No, they've been solid starts, I think, for Cubs
it's one
fans.
pitch. It's not like all of his pitches are getting shelled.
Yeah, you just worry about the home runs in a playoff setting.
Because the rising fastball, he doesn't get a lot of ground balls. A lot of balls go in the air. So if you're at home and the weather factors continue to play, that's going to play a role too. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm not hitting the panic button on any of this, and I'm not hitting it. I think that this team is actually built pretty well to win some games here coming up. I'm not going to trip over any sort of series to the Reds as a outlier. What we've seen from this team is an inconsistent offense. That is true. But what we've also seen the last couple weeks is this team's ability to hit really good starting pitching, and they've done it, which was something I was very concerned about early on in the year when they kept losing to ace-level starting pitching. That's why I'm not there yet with the offense. Pitching-wise, I don't know. I think you win a game with Cade Horton, and then because I don't think anybody's beaten Cade Horton, and then hopefully you get one out of Shota. I don't know, but maybe if it has to be a slight, even with Shota giving up home runs, he's still only given up like 3 earned runs in his last 7 starts max. I mean,
quality start city and all that stuff.
It's been like 3 earned runs was like the most he had given up. I don't know how many he gave up in the Red start. I can't remember off the top of my head. But before the start this weekend, his last 7, he had given up a home run in each one, but only 3 earned runs max. Yeah. So I'm just not concerned. I'm reading everything full. I'm not letting recency bias impact my opinion on this starting rotation. I'm not. And I don't think Craig is either.
We got one more break coming up here on the CHGO Cubs podcast. Hit the like button if you haven't already. On the other side of the break, me and Kevin, we're going to start getting into the rosters, the playoff rosters, who's in, who could possibly out. You keeping 12 pitchers, you keeping 13. All that and more in the final leg right here on the CHGO Cubs podcast.
Whether you need the snapbacks, the truckers, the fitteds, the beanies, or t-shirts, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. Looking for some gear to make your brand stand apart from the crowd? Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. Start your order, and their dedicated team is going to help you create the exact custom apparel that you need. They have a partnership with 40 colleges, including Big Ten schools. Look at all these caps we got here. And a part of their campus selection, the Big Ten schools: Ohio State, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Maryland, Michigan State, Penn State, Purdue, and USC, home of Caleb Williams. Head to brandedbills.com. Use the code BBCHGO. You get 15% off your first order. Seriously, look at these caps, man. Come on.
Kevin Wells, what college is he going to? He's going to be a gopher, ladies and gentlemen. Rock and roll. And look, for the third ad break, this is all about props. It's all about props here with the third ad break. And let me tell you a little something about this prop. Kevin, you know that moment, right? I've done it 1,000 times in my life. You buy the $5 sunglasses because you know you're going to lose yours right away. You sacrifice quality because you know you're going to screw it up and you're going to lose them. But guess what? The one when you realize that you left them on the beach, the roof of your car, it's all over now. That's because when you find Shady Rays, it can completely change the game. These sunglasses are made for real life. They're seriously good looking, polarized, durable, and not stupidly expensive. And here's the wild part. If you lose or break them, even on day one, Kevin, which we are both prone to do, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can actually wear your sunglasses without fear on hikes, concerts, boats, whatever, wherever. Shady Rays is eyewear that has your back. So we've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. Head to shadyrays.com. Use code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses. That's right, 35% off. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Looking good.
Thanks, man.
So this is the part of the show I was most looking forward to when I was coming in today because, one, we just haven't gotten to talk playoff baseball in forever, and this is where it gets exciting. Yes, there's 6 regular season games left. I did see a few comments in there. Are we there yet? De La Cruz, are we to the playoffs yet? No, not yet. But this is where we can start to make fun predictions and gauge what you guys think as well in the chat. So I want everyone to kind of get in on this segment. This is what this is all about. Who makes this roster for the wild card? The Cubs are in, so they will have a wild card roster. It could be 26 men. You get 13 of them max can be pitchers. But remember, this is a shorter series. It's a best of 3. So knowing Jed and knowing Craig, I think they will want to go 13-13. But my heart says shorter series, trust your horses, put another bat in there, maybe a guy that can kind of be an X factor, intangible base runner. Give yourself all the opportunity you can and trust your guys to eat innings like they have this season. So let's pull up the roster that I have, Sarah. So let's start with the position players. So obviously I think Carson Kelly, Reese McGuire will make the roster. Now, I know the immediate question is, where's Miguel Amaya? I think if he comes up this week and he shows something, or if they call him back, I'm just not sure where he's at. And I think that it's more than just the bat that's going to be behind. It's also going to be, catching certain guys again. It's all. I feel like we've had a lot of success. Carson Kelly's definitely making the roster. It's going to be between Reese and Amaya. But right now my gut is telling me Reese, and then you give Amaya a little bit more time should you make it out of this, wild card round. Ballesteros, I have an asterisk by because I think he makes the roster if Kyle Tucker does not. Then we have questions if Tucker makes the roster. Everybody else, though, Busch, Hoerner, Dansby, Shaw, Turner, Willie Castro, PCA, Happ, Saya, and...
Old Faithful on there.
Yeah, there's the interesting one, right? Let's talk about that. Billy Hamilton's on this roster. You don't sign a guy, 35-year-old Billy Hamilton, if you don't think that he's going to play a role for you at some point here in October. It's just not a thing. Like, why? Maybe it's a depth move. Maybe they trust Alcantara, PCA, and some of their base stealers. But I don't know, man. For me, I do think they want to use him. I don't know if it'll be in the wild card. I feel like, why not? He's here and he's stealing bases, bring him up. Then I have Owen Casey on there as well. So I have 14 position players and 12 pitchers. Let's get to the pitchers quick before we talk to Joey's and look at his. So pitching-wise, I think the top three are obvious. Your three starters. Shota, Horton, Boyd are 1, 2, and 3. Tyone's going to make the roster too because he will be a piggyback type of guy. Colin Ray, I think, makes it, and Aaron Savale as well. All 5 of those guys, or all 6 of those guys, have just had an excellent couple of weeks here. I mean, I think the starters are for sure in, and then your bullpen is where we can start to have a dialogue and a conversation. Not Brad Keller. He's making the team. Andrew Kittredge making the team. Thielbar, Pomeranz are making it because they're playing a team that doesn't hit lefties very well, most likely. Taylor Rogers is the one that many people might have an issue with, and they might say, well, why not someone else? I think Palencia is going to make the roster too. I don't think that that's any question. So there's a couple pitchers on there that I want to gauge your thoughts on. Do you see, of the guys who I laid out there, the notables that I left off were Assad and Soroka? Would you replace any of those pitchers with either of those guys at this moment in time?
So I would put Javier Assad in the playoff roster. To be blunt about it,
I think I'm putting Assad in the divisional series because it's a longer series. It's another game. It's a best of 5 versus a best of 3. So that Colin Ray and him seemed repetitive to me.
No, and that's fair. And look,
for the shorter series,
I feel like I went 13 and 13 on my list personally. Okay. We can hit my hitters just really quickly. I do have Amaya on there. And the part of the reason there is I just feel like it gives you a little bit more flexibility, whereas if you wanted to bring in Reese to hit against a right-hander, you could do that if you wanted to. I think more importantly is if you had to bring Reese into a game and they went to a left-hander, you could bring Amaya into that situation.
Yeah, okay.
It helps you out with extra innings types of moments. And to be quite frank with you, with the story that Miguel Amaya has been through this year, I'm kind of riding with it. That I think that he's been through so much this year that him coming back and maybe getting in a bat at some point, I think is worth the try. On the pitching side, however, this is how I ended up rolling out. And I got Rogers on there for sure. I took, what was it? I added Assad, and I also have Soroka on there too as well. The reason why I did that was because, just in my opinion, I think to get through this series, it's going to be a little kitchen sink. But if it isn't, there's 2 situations that I think about. One is if you have a big lead, or 2, if you're trying to stay into a game with, let's just say, a 5-2 deficit and it's the 4th or 5th inning in the game. And I'm going to be real with you. I'm putting Tyone on this roster right now, but I don't know if Tyone sees any action in game 1 or game 2.
Well, you have to have Jamison Tyone on this roster because a guy could get sick. Shota could get sick.
Yeah.
You have to be
100%.
Yeah.
But the reason why I went with a guy like an Assad or a guy like Soroka is there are guys that can cover multiple innings for you, and I just think that you can heat them up a little bit quicker into a game than perhaps a Tyone. Like if things went astray and you're down 5-2, or let's go the other side. Let's say you're up 8-2, right? I would probably trust Javier Assad in this situation more than maybe a Taylor Rogers. right? If you're just trying to cover outs and you're trying to get to the game and you're trying to lock down the win, and I think maybe just where our disagreement is I would just carry that extra pitcher, and I think that's what it's really going to come down to.
Feels to me that Counsell and Jed, their philosophy through these 2 years that they've worked together has been the more pitching you can have, the better. So that's kind of where my opinion sways, is I think that's what will happen. But with the shorter series, I'm intrigued to take the leap and say, I think, why not go an extra bat and one less pitcher when you have less innings to cover? That's where my mind goes, so you could be more creative on the base paths and manufacture runs for an offense that might prove to be a little stagnant. But this is where we learn a lot about Craig Counsell.
Right, and my only counter to that would be, it's great that we're getting Daniel Palencia back, but guess who's not pitching back-to-back days? Daniel Palencia.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Brad Keller, are you gonna, if it goes to a game 3 in a wild card series and then you're staring at the face of a win and then you have to play again on Saturday, would you go back to back with Brad Keller? That's something that they've only done once with him all year, and they've done it pretty seldomly in a back-to-back nature, and they're trying to get kind of more into that this year. So I think it's a little bit more about, of course, when we're talking about the playoffs, you're just trying to secure the win in the moment, but at the same time, maybe you do carry that extra arm just in case you do have to maybe do Brad Keller and Andrew Kittredge back-to-back nights, because you did Daniel Palencia one night. You can't run him back in game 2, right? Like,
being prepared for all scenarios.
And could you, and I'll even go farther, if you pitch Daniel Palencia in game 1 on Tuesday, can you run Daniel Palencia out there on the Thursday of the game 3? Those are just things that I just don't know right now. And this is a fun argument to have. And I love your list. And the Billy Hamilton thing, I'm not wagging a finger at it. Just that's kind of where I'm leaning, just like right now at the beginning of this week. And I think, we're both allowed to maybe change our mind a little bit.
They might not. And that's the thing, that the Hamilton thing is on there for fun because, one, I would like to see it. 2, I think it's a possibility. But he's not on the 40-man. And you have to be on the 40-man to be on the 26-man playoff roster, obviously. So there would have to be a corresponding move there. I don't know if that's something they're looking into. I'm sure that, again, you don't bring 35-year-old Billy Hamilton in your organization unless you plan on using him. Unless you plan on using him. He's going to get used.
Yeah.
Will it be in the wild card series? I don't know. I think so. I tend to believe so, but that's going to depend on what Craig Counsell wants. Obviously, Craig asking, what's up with Casey concussion? We don't know. There's been no update on that as far as I'm aware. I'm sure we'll hear about it this week.
Yeah, and frankly with the concussion too, there's no position for us to even speculate on that. Everybody's different in regards to that.
So I put Owen Casey on my playoff roster as a caveat to Kyle Tucker. If Kyle Tucker's not ready to go, Casey obviously will be on the roster, and I think Ballesteros, that's good bench depth to have. I think you trust those bats, and I know Craig Counsell really likes Carlos Santana. I know that we heard on the broadcast that, he sent him a text and said, hey, we know you have opportunity to sign elsewhere, but we'd love to have you here. So what's that conversation like? Do you have him?
The conversation's easy. It's like, Carlos, thank you for everything, but you haven't done anything.
But do you keep Justin Turner and Santana, who essentially do the same thing just with different splits? Do you keep both of those guys on the roster? Do you go for speed? This is why this debate is fascinating to me and why I cannot wait. This is what I've been waiting for with Craig Counsell since they hired the guy, because I really am excited to see how he shapes this best of 3 series. It's fascinating, truly.
You honestly, you can't keep them both on the roster, and in my opinion, this is why. And maybe the division and the NLCS will have a different conversation, is because, one, if they take over 1.5 at bats away from Matt Shaw, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't care if it's a lefty. I don't care if it's a righty. I don't care if the dude throws with 2 arms and both balls at the same time. Michael Busch needs to be in lineup for every single game. So the Turner pinch hit scenario is really, you're just kind of burning a player by just having him pinch hit once, and it probably would maybe be at third base with Willie Castro coming in at third or something along those lines. Or maybe it is the catcher, right? Maybe you could see one of them coming in at, if it is whatever the situation may be, and maybe that opens up the door for Carlos Santana in a situation where you pinch hit for Carson Kelly. But you can't have 2 first basemen at a spot where your first baseman is leading the team in home runs right now. So that's the part that I can't wrap my head around.
The Justin Turner argument is less vague for me. You signed the guy for $7 million to play in the playoffs for you.
Yeah.
You signed him in the beginning of the year to be a postseason presence. That's where he's made his money. He's had a lot of legendary at-bats in the postseason. I think Justin Turner's on the roster. I don't think that's really my question is Carlos Santana, and I am kind of leaning towards probably not at the moment in time. But again, I don't know what that conversation with him and Craig is like. Craig sent that message, hey, we want you here. You're a well-respected veteran. Maybe they keep him. Not really sure. But
we got to get out of here. That's what we got to do. Thank you so much for tuning in.
If you guys want to leave comments and also tweet at us on Twitter what you guys think the roster will be, I would love to engage with you guys on that.
100%.
This is fascinating.
We'll respond.
We're a week away, man.
Yeah, we'll respond to any diehards in the chat too. Jump in the Discord. We can also do that too as well. But yeah, leave your comment and question below here. Make sure you like this video, hit the notification button. CHGO Cubs Podcast is back tomorrow night with a post game. I want to thank Kevin Wells. I want to thank our producer Sarah today. I'm Joey. Let's get out of here. Luke's coming back soon. Fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.